Hello, folks, and welcome to the Don't Be Useless podcast. I am coming into this week. Look, it's been a week. Can I just say, welcome again to the Don't Be Useless podcast. We are here to deliver on our vision, build our confidence, and use our God given gift. That is the whole goal of the Don't Be Useless podcast. So if you didn't know, now you know. We are in season 2. And in season 2, I changed up the format of this podcast. I want to hear from you. This means that every week I like to go over questions with you guys. Like, you can email me your questions. I want you to be a part of this conversation. This is something that I want to happen every week. So if you have never sent in a question to the Don't Be Useless podcast, I want you to do it. All questions are accepted of any sort at all. Definitely email them to hello@ItsPriscillaB.com. That's hello@ItsPriscillaB.com. And let me answer your questions. So today we have a bit of a full plate, quite a bit of a conversation that we are going to have, I must say. I didn't anticipate going to this conversation. We don't have an actual question today, but I have a question that I am going to pose to you. And so this question is about relationships, and I want us to weigh in on this. All of us have those, good relationships we can remember. I mean, like dating. We're talking dating today, boundaries, all of that stuff. And then I want to talk about, is it okay to not be okay? Like, is it okay if you feel behind life all the time? How do you deal with that? Is something wrong with you? Are you alone? All of that kind of stuff. So I really want to kind of talk through that and give us more confidence in how life is going and how we're doing. So I'm ready to get into it. All right. So let me just say, I did see all the memes and stuff going on. So every week I like to pull some buzz off the internet, some meme of the week, and start there as a point of connection, because I think in the end we can figure out how to turn it into something we can use. I was that kid who always learned from somebody else's mistake. I didn't have to do it. Okay, what kind of kid was you? Were you the kind of kid that had to bump your head every week, every day, in order to figure out what the lesson was? I was not that kid. And so I like to learn from the mistakes of others. And so something that came up that I think had a lot of mistakes was that Teddy Riley IG Live. I have seen so many memes just making fun of how bad they use technology. And I'm like, really? How is this happening in this day and age? Y'all, who was on this live stream? Who was on? Okay, let me give a shout out to everybody who is on here right now. Let's see. So we have on YouTube. We have Diane on YouTube, Alicia on YouTube. Hello. If you're here, drop an emoji so I know you are here. Say hello. Alicia Spencer's in the house. Andrea's in the house on Facebook. I love that you guys tune in live, and more of you guys are coming in, which is amazing. Okay. So this Teddy Riley thing, I was literally like, what is this? Now, here's what I'm going to take from that situation where they are being poor stewards of technology. What I'm taking from that situation is be prepared. But the other thing I'm taking from it is don't let people pressure you into something you're not ready for. Y'all, I am led to believe that Telly, who was the other person he was with? It was supposed to be some type of like music battle. Let me back up. It's supposed to be some type of music battle between like the music of Teddy Riley and the music of who? Can y'all know who it was? Anyway, whoever this legend was supposed to be, they got on IG Live and Babyface. Oh my goodness. And they spent the first however long talking about, can you hear me? Can you hear me? You hear? Like, it was a whole fiasco of them not being able to hear each other, see each other. It's like they were sound checking the whole episode or their whole live stream on IG Live. Y'all, it has so many comedic sketches and stuff out now. It is hilarious. It's hilarious. But again, we're trying to figure out what can we use from this? What can we take from that? Don't let people pressure. Somebody said full dysfunction. Shakira said full or Shakira. Tell me which one. Full dysfunction. What I gather from this is don't let people push you into something you're not ready for. I feel like people start pressuring Teddy Riley and Babyface, like, hey, y'all can get into mainstream with all these millennials. And if y'all just go live, because people have been battling their music online, and y'all should do this now during the quarantine. So here they go, getting on the quarantine, completely unprepared. Poor Teddy Riley, poor Babyface, completely unprepared for the moment. Completely unprepared. And I'm sitting here like, who told them to do this? Who? Who said get your butt on Instagram? Who did it? Because somebody done pressured them into something they wasn't ready for. Can we take a word from this? If you not ready, then you not ready. We ain't talking about dating and relationships yet, but we're going to get into it. And when we do, that's one of the things I want you to take. If you not ready, you not ready, okay? And then whenever you feel the pressure, you just remember Teddy Riley and Babyface yelling on the internets, okay? Their grandchild's internets, trying to figure out why, okay? Why? Y'all, people was so frustrated. Okay, let's recap. So last week we talked about ghosting, or if we're going to talk it out whenever a friendship or relationship goes sour. That was hilarious. Last week we also talked about church. Should a church actually talk about racism over the pulpit? Is it the responsibility of the church? And then I just want to make sure you guys know y'all can email me. So I done said this, but I'm going to say it again. Email me at hello@ItsPriscillaB.com. If you see an article or a situation that happened on the internet and you want me to hit that up in the buzz of the week, which is how I start my podcast, please just tag me in it so I can see it and we can talk through it on here. Let me say hey to some of you guys on here. We have Brashina in the house. We have Christopher who's in here. Someone said laugh out loud. Alicia said laugh out loud. Wow, I hate that I missed the foolery. Oh my gosh, y'all. It was a mess. Hey, Angie. Angie's in the house. All right, on YouTube, Diane said he could have just played some music. Y'all, they had like amplifiers and speakers. Like amplifiers and speakers, like it's going to pick up on a cell phone or a computer. Like it wasn't sound coming through the device. It was like echoey and loud in the room. It was a mess. So Diane said he could have just played some music. He tried to come with a whole crew. They did. They had people in the back dancing. Wait, y'all, look. Don't forget the lesson. If you ain't ready, don't do it. You guys already know Don't Be Useless is all about helping you deliver on your vision, build your confidence, and use your God-given gifts. That is what the Don't Be Useless podcast is all about. And I think a main focus we're going to talk about today is confidence, because I want us married folks to talk about relationships from a dating perspective. And I want those folks in the dating pool, to talk and share their wisdom as they have been going through it, okay? Whether they've been dating recently, haven't dated in a while, let's see if we can come together as a full community of folks who have dated and talk through what this whole thing is. So on Facebook, the Cosby meme was the best. I have not seen the Cosby meme about the Teddy Riley thing. I have to. Y'all, I love a good laugh. Hi, y'all. Hey, Mickey. All right. So I told you guys that I want your questions. Today, we did not have a question. So here's the conversation. Here's the conversation that we are going to be having today. And it is around relationships. Today, before I give you that profuse point, because I want you to walk out of here empowered with stronger confidence, all of the things. And in that, I'm talking about being okay, even if everything is not okay. Okay? Before we get to that, I need us to come up with a little bit of a list. I sent it to you. How did somebody sent me something? A Theo shirt. That meme. Yes, I did get that. We watched an episode the other day. All right. And don't judge me because I still watch Cosby episodes. Don't judge me. This is my space. Okay? My kids don't know nothing about his indiscretions. One day we'll have a conversation about it. Right now, he is teaching life lessons. All right. Before you get into a relationship, this is where we're going now. Hey, Bernice. Before you get into a relationship, what are some of the things for you need this in place? If you're married and you didn't have it, tell us what you needed in place that you did not have. If you are dating and you have learned that you need to now have this in place in your life, say that. I'm going to start our list with number one. I'm going to get it out the way. One of the main things you need to have before you start dating somebody, the main things you need to have, number one, of course, is a solid relationship with God. Needless to say, what does solid look like? It means you won't throw him away when you start dating. That's what a solid relationship with God is. Before you start dating, you want a solid relationship with God. What does that mean? That means when you start dating and you get you a boo and you get you a bae, you won't throw that person, you won't throw God away for the relationship. That's how you know your relationship is solid. How do you know that? Because that means you're not throwing God away for other things, right? That's one of the gauges. Is he with you everywhere you go? Is this an active relationship? I'm telling you, because one of the first things to do, let me tell you guys, as a pastor too, when a couple gets married, I don't know why, but a lot of times we don't see them at church for a long time. Somehow they wake up a Sunday and they're blissful love and they just be like, "Ooh, we ain't going to church today." I don't know what it is. They ghost when folks start dating and get together. I don't know what it is. All right. I see these comments are flying. Let me go over here to YouTube. Someone says he has to love Jesus. Don't nobody got time to drag you to church. I got one child. Speaking of that, somebody on Facebook said, what you need before you get in a relationship, a babysitter. Look, if you're trying to secure this thing, you need to be having to reschedule all the time because you need a baby sitter. So Venus said, hey, Venus, haven't had a date in a long time. Anybody know a good man? Look, Venus said, do you know somebody in Florida? I think she's still in Florida, Venus, unless she moved again. Thank you for saying I'm always inspirational. I see that. Venus said, do you know anybody? Is there a good man that you know about? Okay. All right. So someone said a man with a solid relationship with God. Yes. But before we talk about what we need in him, that could be for another week. What do you need for you? Because I think a lot of times we get really focused on what we want out of this dude. We are not paying attention to what we need to be to have that type of dude. It could be just me, y'all. Help me out there. Help me out. But today, let's focus on us. All right. Someone said self-love and self-worth. Man, self-love and self-worth. Now, here's the thing. Self-love is not conceit. Angie, I'm sure she's not talking about be conceited, girl, be conceited. No, what she's saying is love who you are. Love who you are. No, be sure in who you are. And self-worth, also know your value. Does that mean you don't have any insecurities? Of course you do. You're a person. You'll have some insecurities, but know who you are before you're in a relationship. So, Venus says she is in Florida, but she wishes she was back in Austin. Somebody said, let me think about that. That's a good question because we're talking about for ourselves, especially the ladies. I don't care if you're a lady or a guy, but whoever you are, just you, who do you need to be? What do you need to have in place? Someone said, understand your values. Now, let me break this down because I know this is high level now. I'm going to come down lower for a person who's been married almost 14 years. Understanding your values. Here's what it means to understand your values, whether you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship yet. If you understand your values, It means that whenever someone has a conflicting value, you're able to defend why you believe what you believe. Sometimes we get into relationships too early, it's premature. And what happens is we let how they feel, what they think, what they want, especially sexually. Okay, let's be real. Some folks be slipping up here. You love God with all your heart, but you can't keep it closed. Clank, clank. Okay, we need to lock it down. If that is a boundary you have in your relationship, we're going to talk about that in a second. Okay, but sometimes we'll let what they want completely swallow what it is we know we're supposed to be strong on. So when you understand your values, but you hold on to them, that is something that I think is so valuable. So that's a good call out, Alicia. All right, I'm going over to YouTube. Someone said that you need to have boundaries. Yes, check, and yes. Someone else said sexual purity. Okay, and that's open. So can we have a conversation about this? Can we have a conversation about sexual purity? Let me just say that everyone who believes in God is not keeping it locked down. Okay. And let's say that you have not been pure at any point. Let's say you haven't been pure in a while. Okay. If you have a boundary around that, I'm going to need you the same way. I'm speaking from experience. You cannot date the same way next time. If it has failed you, that way of dating has failed you in the past. If you try to date the same way, here's what I mean. So let's say you meet somebody online, which God is not opposed to that. I know some amazing relationships who met online. Let's say you meet somebody online and you guys decide you're going to start dating. Let's say he says, hey, I'll meet you at this restaurant, 6:00. You meet them. Afterwards, he's like, hey, do you want to, go hang out here or go there, whatever it may be. Let's say it's the third date and he invites you to his place or you invite him to yours. Sis, you have an issue already. Dude, you can't keep it locked down, clank, clank. So if you can't, should nobody be in your house? Nobody. Because you can't date the same way if you're trying to protect something. And if sexual purity is a part of the boundaries you want to have in your relationship, then you got to date differently. I am speaking. Someone said Europe. Don't be tempted. I saw this in a movie once, y'all. What movie was this? And it was Megan Good who had this boundary. So she would wear really holy, old looking drawers. So that way she wasn't tempted to show like, she said, I will never expose myself this way. Yes. What hacks do you need in your life to not make the mistake? All right. Someone said here on Facebook, I did that with my husband. We were dating. We used to laugh when I would leave before midnight. Nothing good comes. I got to open it up. Here goes. Nothing good comes after midnight. Look, who has heard it? Nothing good happens after midnight. Look, think I like them. Look, nothing good happens after. For me, let me tell you guys. So when I was dating Pastor Evan, we were in college. We did not date the right way. It was a very negative, codependent relationship. We broke up multiple times, on and off. It was just a mess. And then after this, we had a couple years where we were apart. We were dating other people. I'm dating people. At one point we ended up dating a brother and a sister. Isn't that crazy? I dated the brother and he had dated the sister. It was crazy. Anyway, so we had dated different people. And we both ended up in Atlanta at the same church. Well, a couple years after that, one or so, maybe two, he approached me about dating again. But because we knew that we didn't have the best track record in college, we literally changed up how we dated. We got accountability from our pastor. So we let somebody ask us how we're doing. Accountability. And I'm just talking about sexual purity, one of ours, most of you guys know. And he kept us accountable. Something else we did is we group dated. We wasn't going out unless we was hanging with other people. And if we were by ourselves, it would only be in the daytime, never at night. Because for us, and we didn't have no super long engagement. Y'all being engaged 2, 3, 4, 15, 18 years. What? What? Look, long engagements, if you were see, I'm telling you, when I'm in the church space, I am going to follow what it is that couple wants because that's my job. Here, let me tell you right now, personally, I will never say be engaged for a very long time. If you need to date to make sure long enough to make sure you know this person and y'all are good, awesome. But long engagement are never my vibe. Never, never. Okay. For YouTube, someone says definitely need to set proper boundaries to make sure you don't get 2 years down the road and regretting it. Oh, Cheney, is that experience? Because you done caught out a whole 2 years. This sound personal. That's all right, girl. That is all right. I'm with you. Definitely. You don't want to get years down the line and you don't know. Y'all, this will sound dumb to you, but let me tell y'all, this may sound dumb to you. Let me tell you, I used to have this test that in a dating relationship, I wanted to see a couple scenarios happen to see how the person would handle it. One of the scenarios that I would have would be I wanted to see how they handled loss. Meaning if we're playing board games, if I'm watching them play basketball, how do they handle loss? Do they grab their ball and want to go home? Do they start trying to cheat? Do they start trying to dog the other person? All of these things are heart issues and they come out in competition because what happens is when you're married and pressure hits, the same stuff comes out. Now, nobody's perfect. We all got our stuff, but I need to see how severe is yours. Is this thing unchecked? Is this a monster? And I'm not paying attention to the signs. Competition every time will expose the heart of the person. Even if it's a person who's just like, I don't care. I don't care if I win. I don't care. A lot of times they can be unambitious in life. Like literally competition exposes so much. All right, somebody says, get to know yourself. Absolutely get to know yourself. And not just, oh, I like walks on the beach or, oh, I like, this or that. It's like, I recognize that if I'm not motivated by like another person, I ain't gonna do nothing. Like I need to be in a group, like stuff where, right, bigger things. Someone said, that's true. Look, competition shows you everything. I'm telling you, pay attention to that. So if you're dating and you're always only in good situations, you're only in, fluff. Oh, it's just nice. We're today. We laugh together. We go to the movies. But you ain't never seen them take a loss, take a hit, or let's say something goes on in their family. Are they running? Are they talking about it? Do they open up to you about it? Like all these are signs. Pressure will show you who they are. All right. Someone says, have your top 5 non-negotiables. I'm not mad at the list of 5. I had a list before I got married too. You know what one of those things was on my list? A light-skinned black man. Who knows who I'm married to? All the way a white man. And I love my bae. I love him. I feel like God laughed in the face of my list. Yes, he didn't care. He didn't care about all my cosmetic wants. It didn't matter. Okay? I am with exactly who I'm supposed to be with because I gave my list to Jesus. Okay? I was like, look, this is what I want, but is what you say I need because you really, 14 years in advance who I'm going to be. I don't know who I'm going to be. God knows who you're going to be. That's why he should be a part of the process with you. But I like that. Have your 5 non-negotiables. Yes, man, we can talk about this all day. All right. Someone else said, do they save the last chicken wing? Look, Shale. Do they save you the last chicken wing or are they eating it? Ooh, one time I ate the last thing on a plate in college that I was sharing with Pastor Edmund. He wasn't Pastor Edmund at the time. He was just a basketball player and I was just growing the dance team. But here I ate the last thing, but I asked him first. But he thought, even though he said I could have it, I wasn't supposed to take it. Y'all, it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. I was like, but you said I could. I asked, look. Yes. Does he say your last piece of chicken? What movie is that on? I think I saw it on a movie where they were like, they took the last piece of chicken. Okay. I'm like, it's a pet peeve of mine. And when I feel like people try to appropriate different races, my husband does not do that. He is just completely himself. And he has been in so many different environments. He is just himself. All right. Someone else said, yes, we do. Great couple. Yes, we love our pastor. Okay. Wow. That's a new great perspective. Wow, Kate, which perspective did you grab a hold to, Kate? I'm not sure which one it is. It was. Yes, Shell. That chicken wing thing was on a movie. What movie was that? Oh, it was on The Brothers. Diane said it was on The Brothers. Did she save you the last chicken wing? He is the best. Yes, he is the best. And he has his things that drive me crazy, just like your boo or bae will have things that drive you crazy. All right, if you are married, no. Is some things I wanted to show you. So we are right now building our list. We are talking about before you get into a dating relationship. Let me tell you the things that came off the top of my head. One, of course, having a solid relationship with God. What does that mean? That means you don't throw God away every time you get a new job, every time you get a new best friend, or you start dating. Yep, that's right, Angie. Or you start dating. You don't throw God away. He literally is a part of the process with you, and you care what he thinks, and you will drop a person before you drop your relationship with God. That's how you know y'all are really connected. Second, you love yourself. What is love yourself? The Bible says you're supposed to love yourself. That's a thing. Like God says, love you. He created you. He loves you. So he said, will you please love yourself too? Oh, someone said that line's from the game. It might have been in both. The third thing I have here is boundaries. And some of us, like, y'all already call it out. You're like, look, you need to have boundaries with purity, clank, clank, lock it up. But something else you need to have boundaries with, your money. Okay? Your money. Your money. Your money. Because I think we forget that you should be on your way somewhere financially. Okay? Your money is a thing. Is your money? Do you have boundaries around it? What does that mean? That means you got a savings account. If he gets into a tough spot, would you give him money? You've been dating 6 months. He knows how much money because somehow you told him this early, whatever it may be. And he knows you got $1,000 and he wants to start this business. Are you gonna give up the money, or are there boundaries there? See, before you date, you need boundaries on your money. So that means if y'all want to go out and y'all are both paying for your own stuff all the time, and you know your money is getting low, you need to verbalize, hey, my money is low this week. I don't think I can go out anywhere. Like if you want to go to Starbucks, we can go there, that'd be cool, but I don't think I can do. Can you be honest with the dude? Or would you throw away that boundary? Would you throw away your money just to be with a guy? What are your money boundaries? Another boundary, what did I have here? Yes. So we talked about earlier sexual purity. The thing I want to add to that is if you keep making the same mistake in sexual purity, you need to renew your mind about the topic. You need to understand the value. If that is a boundary for you. The first time, as I mentioned earlier, me and my husband, it was not good. The second time, perfect. No mistakes. The boundaries we put in place for us held us together. And then after we were married, it was amazing. So I mean what I say. And if you have set that boundary for yourself in purity, first of all, it's worth it. Even if you've blown it before like I had, it's worth it. All right. The fourth thing that I had here is your standards. Boundaries and standards are two different things. Kate said, no money from me. Come on, Kate. No money. Oh, you said the game. I heard that, Kate, for that perspective. Look, boundaries and standards are two different things. If you have a boundary, that means this is something I need to protect. I'm protecting my money. Okay. I'm protecting my heart. I love myself. So that means you're protecting your self-worth, right? Boundaries, protect things. But standards, meaning I need you to jump. Okay. Now, standards is I have a standard of faith. So yes, you may go to church, and y'all, please hear me when I say this. If you think him going to church is the only indicator of whether or not he has a relationship with God, it doesn't mean anything. It don't mean, y'all, he could have just gone growing up. So he still goes now. He ain't paying attention, and he just likes the cloud of people knowing his name. Going to church is basic. It's basic. A level up for that for me, is they go to church, but they also serve in their church, because then they're willing to be known in a whole nother level. Okay? They're serving their church. Now, here's the other things with the guys. Do they actually pray and read their Bible at all when they're not at church? Because if God can't talk back to them, then their relationship is dust. Look, dust. If they are not talking to him, and that's the thing, you want a guy who can hear, because there will come a season in his life where maybe something happens or whatever, and he stops listening, or it may change him. Let's say he loses his dad or his mom or someone close to him, and it may change who he is. And what happens is once he goes through that storm, if he doesn't have anything to fall back on because he just went to church as a hobby, it was just something that he did. He liked getting dressed up. I don't know. He just went to church, but then he had nothing to fall back on. So when you're saying, babe, I read this scripture, I want to encourage you. He's like, I don't want to hear it. Look, I'm telling you, you want to know he actually cares what God thinks. That is the true test. And that's something you can't ask him. It's only something you can observe or whatever it may be. All right, folks are like, so true, so true. I hear that. Religion versus relationship. Yes, Diane. I see that note, Nieves. Yes. You literally, you know what quarantine is exposing right now? How many people are religious? Because now you have a choice of whether you tune in to get the word every week, multiple times a week or whatever. And there are people who straight have ghosted. They have totally fallen away altogether. Why? Because church was just a thing to them. That God relationship of making sure, like, I understand the foundations of my faith. Part of that is being connected to a church body and under pastors who pray for me and being looked out for. Look. It's exposing it. Someone says, and pays their tithes and offerings. Alicia said she needs to know they pay. Look, if they pay tithes and offerings, oh, they legit. Because the dude that'd be one of the main things to go. That is so good. All right, guys. So those are the things that I had. And you guys had some great things about boundaries, standards, and all the other things when it comes to before you date. So if you joined into this conversation late, I want you to go back to the beginning and listen to what we talked about when it comes to dating and relationships. And if you're not able to lock down the cooch and the stuff, y'all lock it down. It is always worth it. And I say that from personal experience, having dated the wrong way and then dated the right way. I'm telling you, there's so much else I can share on that. Before we go on in the future. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about today is what I call the profuse point. And this is where I just want to over-exaggerate, highly communicate the best way to put something to use. And today we're talking about confidence and esteem. So we don't want our confidence to die. Y'all, the question I want to pose is it okay to not be okay? Is it okay to not be okay, especially if you are a believer in Jesus? A lot of times, especially as women, we can take on the whole world. Here's what I mean. Yesterday, I tried to take most of the day off so I could, spend more family time, wash some clothes. Okay, they piled up, do some things that I knew would make me feel good. I'm like, I want to do that. I want to do things around the house, that makes me feel great, right? But what I found is I couldn't do it all. And I'm just like, I can never do enough. I'm like, I still want to get this clutter out of this room. I still want to do this in the garage. I still need to call my mom. I still need to, plan this out. I still ain't meal prepped. I'm like, I don't have enough hours. I just don't have enough of me to go around. And I was like, you know what? Will I ever have enough time to be able to give everything that I want to give, do everything that I want to do? Will I actually have the time? And I have decided, right or wrong, I will not. I will not. Because I will always have things that I will be adding to my imaginary list. Like I just gave you guys a couple of things There'll always be things that I'm just like, oh, you know what I want to do? I want to go do this. Oh, I want to go, oh, this trip over here. Oh, you know what? I need to do this. Let me give you some practical stuff. Kids. Oh, yeah, I need to clip their toenails. Because if I don't clip their toenails, they're going to scratch their siblings and I'm going to have band-aids. Somebody going to be coming in here crying. This how we do, don't we? We go 4 or 5 things in advance. Oh, you know what? If I don't unload the dishwasher tonight, oh, then we're not going to have forks. They're going to say they can't find it. I'm going to tell them to look in the dishwasher. They say go to still ain't going to find. We're way in advance. We move so far in advance. So far. So what we do is we have literally added on. Our imaginary list is like 5 gazillion times long. Yes. Someone on Facebook said never ending. Always. Never ending. The list never ends. And what happens from there? List doesn't end. And then we find ourselves overwhelmed, anxious, and frustrated, totally needing to apply the scriptures that say, cast your cares on me. I see some YouTube folks going over to Facebook on my ItsPriscillaB page. It makes me think YouTube tripped out on me. But okay, so they say, yes, that's me all the time, especially with this homeschooling. Look, in this quarantine, we're trying to now manage educating a whole human. For me, 3 of them stand on top of their stuff. Yes, always. So let me encourage you with this. When you are not, when you get overwhelmed and you feel like you're not okay, what creeps in because of all this pressure, the pressure you're creating for yourself. Sometimes if you're married, and a lot of times you're creating that old pressure yourself, they don't care. But in our heads, it's the whole world that we're letting down. So pressure is created. What happens? You walk around feeling guilty all the time. You feel guilty because the lunch wasn't healthy enough for the kids, or you didn't feed yourself healthy enough, or you had too many cheat meals. Self-esteem. You start feeling like, look, I'm just a waste. I just can't do anything right. I'm always behind in life. What else does not being okay make you do? As I mentioned, it makes you anxious. But because we're thinking ahead and we're developing this list, mom guilt. Yes. On Facebook, Andrea said mom guilt. Totally. Mom guilt makes you feel like you will never be enough. I'm telling you, could my kids be eating healthier right now? But totally. But you know something else I'm doing? I'm making sure they popping them vitamins. So either I can walk around feeling guilty all the time, well, for the last couple of weeks, because our life was turned upside down with my husband's health or whatever, but I could feel guilty about not giving them vegetables at every meal, or I can take the win of remembering to give them vitamins that I know they're getting some nutrients. I also make them smoothies and drop, vitamins and stuff in it, little droppers. They don't know that. But whatever, I'm making sure they're getting it, even though they're not having the healthiest plate in front of them. But think about this for yourself. What do you need to take the win about? Take the win, y'all. Do not let yourself walk around feeling guilty for where you fell short. So you know what I had to say to myself? I straight up had to say to myself, Priscilla, you're not going to catch up. You're not going to catch up. And even when you think you've caught up, you would have already added 5,000 more things to your list, girl. You would have already added it. And so because you would have already added those 5,000 things, you're always going to feel like you got something you need to do. You just are. So I have to realize that I have to make room for falling short. I have to. If I don't, I'm going to feel guilty all the time. And when God says that his grace is enough for me, that means every single day, the mercy and grace that I get from him, I got to walk in it. And I'm not going to throw that mercy and grace away because I forgot, to clip somebody's toenails. Or I said, forget it. No bath night tonight. You can do it tomorrow. No. Because I cannot let guilt, anxiety, and all these things rob from me the beautiful joys in the day. The blessings God has given me, I can walk, I can breathe, I can see. I am walking in God's purpose for my life. I will not let tasks of the home or life make me feel like I am not good enough and you should not either. Don't let the worries and the cares of this world literally choke out the joy and the word that's in your heart that makes you feel like that conqueror, that warrior that you are. That's right. Angie said, celebrate small, accomplishable thing that I've seen written out that has helped me to manage my small wins is this thing called Big Three, where you write 3 things down that you want to do that day. But it's more than just that. I say it as, what are 3 things I can do today that will make me feel like a champion? 3 things. Praying. I pray today. Oh man, I'm gonna feel like a champion. Second thing, having one-on-one time with my daughter. If I get that quality time in where she feels seen, that's how I know it's quality for me. If that child feels seen, I feel like a warrior. Third, if I'm able to get my plans down for, my podcast next week or post it earlier than I did this week, whatever the thing may be, if you want to take this, do it. The Big Three, where I read it on this board. Sometimes I just have it in my head, but it's best to write it down. What are the main 3 things where you're like, if I knock out these 3, everything else is secondary. I will walk out of this day knowing that I handled it the way I needed to. Look, I got my Big 3. I encourage you guys to adopt Big Three because it will help you to still feel great, even if something else gets dropped, right? If something else gets dropped and you're not able to handle that thing, or it's fine. Why? Because you have said these 3 things make me feel like a winner. I feel like a champion. I won't have guilt. If I do these 3 things, if I throw these clothes in the washer, y'all, it's small, right? But do not allow yourself to feel like you have to do everything, and accept the fact that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay. It literally is okay. But this is why prayer is such a big deal, because when you pray, it gives you the opportunity to cast all of this weight. When you stop talking to God, you have nowhere to put it. And a lot of times it'll come out in negative ways. Addictions, clowning on people, cussing people out in while you're driving, whatever. I don't know. But whatever that thing is for you, but you need to be okay. But like, it's not, some of you are like, oh, I was supposed to write this book. I know God has called me to write a book. I need to write a book. Y'all, you will make time and you will make room to write a book when it's time to do that. But right now, it's probably not time. And you're just adding pressure to yourself because you feel behind because the idea came a year ago. This podcast idea for me came a year before I started it. It'll be a year for me, I think, in August doing this. I've been doing this for 31 weeks now. It was an idea before that. You know what I wasn't going to do? Feel pressured for a whole year until I had time. Why? Because God's grace, His mercy is new every morning. But guess what it's covering? What's in that day. I'm not going to walk around feeling guilty for something I can't produce in that day. I just can't produce it. It ain't gonna happen. So I will accept the joy and peace God died to give me. All right. On Facebook, someone said, I love that. Coming out of postpartum anxiety for my first child, I did one big thing and one small thing that day. I love it. That's right. Oh, it's a game changer when you just had a baby. You should barely have no goals at all. Showering is the goal. Woo, I showered today. Woo, hallelujah. Look, when you have a baby, that's a whole thing. A complete game changer. You're like, I can't get a prayer time in. No, you can't. You are up 24/7, running around after a kid. You better pray in tongues on your way to where you're going and on your way back. Because it's just what it is. And God's grace is there for you. He got you. He got you. Time will come where you're able to balance things better. But right now, if you're not able to balance, accept it right now. and literally put time. Like in May, I'm going to reconsider getting a balance. Right now, I think I'm going to be running, chasing my tail till the end of the month. Get real. Like I'm going to be chasing my tail to the end of the month at least. And then I'm going to try to get myself back together then. Something else, if you have a spouse that really cares about you and you can talk to them, I would encourage you to say to that person, like, hey, I've been feeling super behind life right now. I don't want to take it out on you, but I just want you to know I'm really going to try to work on this. But right now I feel really behind. I just wanted to share that honest thing. Like if you just saying that, sometimes you'd be surprised at how they can respond to you and be like, babe, don't worry about it. Or even tell you, I think you're doing great. Okay. So if you got a support system, use it, and it's okay to not be okay. I'm going to scroll now, make sure I got some of you guys' last comments in. Deneen, hey, Deneen said, don't try to convince someone they want a relationship if they are in a casual place. Leave. Ooh, full circle. I'm going to have to put that one into next week. If they, oh no, I can't hold it, y'all. I can't hold it. I'm at time for this podcast, but let me pull this in. Don't try to convince someone, Deneen said, that they want a relationship if they are in a casual place. Low key, casual place to me is hit and run. And y'all know what I mean. If somebody's trying to hit and run, you shouldn't be nowhere near them. And I hope it ain't you. We're not going to act like it's just the world. Like, look, you could be listening right now. And you just in a hit and run type of place. Please don't. Your heart goes with every person that runs. Don't. I'm telling you, save your own heart. They said, don't try to convince someone. So here's the thing. If someone is like, well, let's see where this goes. I've heard folks say that. You know what? Let's just see where this relationship wegoes. Y'all, we're gonna have to deal with this in a whole nother podcast. A whole nother long engagements and casual dating. Like, look, we're gonna have to do it in a whole nother podcast. Let's see here. Yes, so that's it. I think I hit all you guys' comments. Besides the emojis, laughing, and all this stuff. I love y'all so much. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to the Don't Be Useless podcast. Please make sure you email me your questions. I would love your scenarios to talk through on the podcast. And leave your pearls with the pigs. Look, Kinetic Cheney, that's the name on Facebook. I'm telling you, a whole nother podcast. Yes, I'll be there for that podcast. I can't wait. Oh, then we are putting it on the books. We are putting it on the books. We will definitely talk about casual dating. And what was the other thing? Oh gosh. I get so, y'all, you can see I'm passionate about it. But I love you guys so much. Make sure you email me your scenarios. Are you loving this season, Andrea? Thank you so much. I've heard that feedback from you guys about loving this season. Please make sure you're listening to the podcast on the actual Apple Podcast, Spotify, and everywhere. 60% of you guys listen on Spotify. So from last week is up. I edited out a lot of the extra stuff, like when YouTube was cutting out and stuff. So make sure that you are playing it out loud at some point. Just play it. Keep those numbers strong like you guys did last week. Thank you so much. And this episode will go up towards the end of the week so I can give that podcast a chance for you guys to hear it. But yeah, that's it. We're here. Loving you. Again, we're here to always help you deliver on your vision, build your confidence, and use God-given gifts. I'll see you guys on the next episode.